Oh, look at that. We are live. Welcome to Saturday, September 27th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means we are officially in the talks to do something fun today, which is we're going to do something live. Live. As we always do. Every Saturday, Sunday, we do a live video. Saturday is always educational on craft and or some business. And then, of course, Sundays are the Write With Me series where I write a book from concept to conception. Today we are focused on a live writing sprint and productivity hour. If you don't know by now, every time, every month we do at least one of these. So we can all get together as a community and write and have some fun and get out what we got to get out. With that said, I need to find the productivity timer because we do 20-minute stints. 20-minute stints. However, feel free to go longer than that. But more importantly, there is a poll in the comments section. The poll is, what's your favorite project type? According to the poll, let's see. Boop. Ooh, that got a little big. The poll says, what's your favorite project type? We have standalone novel, trilogy, epic series, short stories, and novellas. All right, there you go. You can't say I don't try. Can't say I don't try. Anyway, as always, if you have anything exciting to talk about, or you have victories or successes, please let me know in the comments below. Hero, what is going on? Afghani, hand up, present. Welcome to the class, my lovely friend. It's flowers. All right, boom, there we go. We're gonna wait for a couple more people, and then we'll get started. But obviously, what? I finished my first draft today. Oh my God! Big round of applause for Afghani, everybody! Woo! Congratulations! That's pretty impressive, man. That is fantastic. I'm really super. Yay, Afghani! What a success, buddy. What a success. I haven't. What? You haven't? What's going on? What's going on? No, yeah, but you're writing. That's a victory in itself. Writing is a victory. You gotta remember, it's so hard to write in general. 27,000 words. That's fantastic. 27,000 words. I can't wait to read your stuff, Afghani. You know I'm gonna be your biggest fan. Nearly, though, next week. What? All right, we'll give you. I think you've earned another applause. Let's get another applause. Woo! All right, everybody. I'm really happy. You have no idea, for anyone who's listening, how difficult it is to start a book, let alone finish a book. I've seen more people start a book than I've seen people finish books. And I'll be honest, I might be one of them. In the past, I've started projects, screenplays, scripts, you name it, and found myself not finishing it. Mostly because I was either hired to do something else, or I just was like, I'm not really. I want to do something else, All right, 20 minutes. Where's the thing? Oh, here we go. Productivity. What's up, Hannah Hart? I can't wait until what's next Saturday, Hannah Hart? Let us know in the comments below. All right. Put this up there because we want to make sure everyone knows that you can ask questions during the sprint. You are not beholden to not asking questions. There's no time frame. There's no restrictions. You just ask whatever you want. I'm trying to fix my sound thing here. My box is moving. My box. All right, let's see. I should have finished this chapter today, but I've been making Morticia. Listen, you have priorities, and let's be honest. If the cat's not happy, you're not happy. You know how they say happy wife, happy life? No. Happy kitty cat, less chaos. But also, there's still chaos with cats. All right. Not sure what to do during the sprint now. Well, you could do a couple things. You could read over your manuscript and edit it. Start getting into the edit, unless you feel you're finished with that. You can start formatting it to be set up for, publication. You could start another project. You could brainstorm. You could outline other ideas. Or you could just be involved in the sprint and sit and relax and ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't have enough beds. That's fair. That's fair. Uh, I wanted to. Oh, you talking about Afghani? Yeah, Afghani. Why don't you help on the productivity of crocheting some cat beds? All right. I'm going to the Renaissance. Renaissance. How does Ted Mosby say it from How I Met Your Mother? He says like the Renaissance. Renaissance. He says really funny. My mother's daughter. My mother's daughter. My mother's daughter. So your sister? My mother's daughter. Is that your sister? My mother's daughter. Help me order a Renaissance dress that's purple and white last Saturday, and it came this Monday. Awesome. Congratulations. Nice. All right, what do we got here? All right, so before we get started, we're gonna wait a couple more minutes for anyone else. Obviously, if you answer the poll, we're gonna talk about that at the end of the hour, and maybe we can talk about some of the ideas. I like that we have a tie going on here. We got 5 votes, and we got it looks like 2 for standalone novel, 2 for short stories / novelettes. I'm assuming that's Afghani. Because I know I like that stuff. And then you got trilogies. 1 person voted trilogies. All right, we got 8 people in the room. Again, there is a poll. Feel free to select the poll. There's standalone novel, trilogy, epic series, or short stories / novels. What's your favorite project type? We'll talk about it at the end of the hour. For anyone who's just jumping in, we're about to do a sprint. We're going to do a 20-minute writing sprint or productivity. You could do whatever you want. You could listen to music. You can clean the house. You could take a nap. You could just listen. You could think of questions that you need answered for your writing. Or you can work on your own books. You could do some outline. You can do whatever you want to do. Nope, I did the standalone novel. Oh, all right. My bad. My bad. My work had a movie day yesterday, but I didn't stay for it because it was Nightmare Before. I don't care for it. What's this? What's this? Something in the air. What's this? What's this? White things everywhere. All right. Standalone. So now we know who the 2 standalones are. But I'll say this much. It's Santa Claus, but I don't see any claws. All right. For anyone who's ready, let's get into it. By the way, feel free to think about what you'd like me to talk about when I come back. You can leave those in the comments. If you have questions about your own writing, feel free to leave that with me, and I'll be happy to answer those questions when we come back. I did the series. Look at that. Boom. Series. All right, so let's get into it. We're gonna do 20 minutes. And then we'll come right back. I wrote a bunch of short stories. They're easier to write, but I like the novels. Maybe that's where I put it. It was like maybe, because I remember you talking about short stories. Oh, we got Kaylee. Beginnings are so hard. I've rewritten the first chapter of my first novel so many times. I realize I don't know the story I'm trying to tell. Oh, boop. Well, that's a great question. You know what? Before we go into the thing, I'll answer this. All right, so I'll reread it again just so everyone hears it. Beginnings are so hard. I have rewritten the first chapter of my first novel so many times. I realized I don't know the story I'm trying to tell. Do you have advice? Well, first and foremost, it's important that you just finish the book, because by finishing the book, it'll give you a greater understanding of what your story is about. So if you've just been focused on the first chapter and haven't gotten to chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and finished at least a first draft, it might be a little bit more difficult to really figure out what the story is, only because it's going to develop over the course of the first draft. When it comes to your first chapter, it's really not about like making it perfect. It's not about like having it, I could publish this. It's really about trying to discover what your story is, even as an outliner, which brings me to my second point of advice. If you're not interested in writing out the entire book, or you have written out the entire book, but let's say you're like, I haven't passed chapter 1, I can't even get past it. Start thinking about a generalized outline. The generalized outline will absolutely help you figure it out. And a generalized outline is everything we talk about on this channel with short form outlining, where you just write a line like, what is the ordinary world? What disrupts it? How do they react to it? What do they think about it? Do they take action to fix the consequences of the inciting incident? What are the consequences of taking action to fix the, right? So if you start seeing those even in a sentence, you just write one sentence or two sentences or three sentences for each plot beat or each moment in your narrative, you'll start seeing the bigger picture. And it's much clearer because you haven't written out the prose yet. You're just writing out concepts. So those are your two big options for discovering what your story is truly about. The first is, if you're going to just write from the seat of your pants, just write out the first draft of the entire book, however long you feel that's going to be, even if it ends up being 200 chapters, because you're going to end up changing it, editing it anyway in the second draft. And then it might turn out to be 100 chapters. And then you'll do a third draft, and it might turn out to be 75 chapters. But the point is, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to be perfect in the beginning. If you don't know a story, the best way to discover it is either by writing it out, as you are with chapters, or working on an outline to sort of see the inside out. I hope that helped, Kaylee. And that's a great question. Yes, things clear up when you have a finished version. Yeah, because you're able to see what's working, what's not working, but you're also getting to see the characters come to life. And then on top of it, you're starting to see threads that might be worth exploring. You might see threads that are sort of falling off to the wayside or aren't important and they're taking up too much page time. So there's a lot of really great things you can discover in both a draft and or an outline. I like to do the heavy lifting in the beginning with the outlining personally, but if you write out a draft, you're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting at the end. But the point is, if you're going to write a draft, you got to get to the end. You got to just write the whole draft. Don't worry about rewriting chapters in the beginning. Just get that story out, or more, the narrative, more importantly. All right. Let's get into it. We're going to do 20 minutes. I'm going to be working on editing the 27 plot point outline. That's right. I am on the second draft of the 27 plot point outline, When Plot Meets Story. I'm trying to get this book done so it'll be ready for at least Christmas and or the first of the year. With that said, let's do it. We're going to get into it, and then we'll be back. Again, if you have questions, just put them in the comments. When I come back, I'll go through the comments, and I'll ask questions. Okay? And go. Okay, we're back. Welcome to the show. All right, there we go. Hello. Bloop. All right. We had a little music in the background. That's nice. That's nice. All right. Okay. As you can see, I trimmed my beard a little bit. I had to shave it. So. Really? Really? That's rude. It's rude, people. It's rude. All right, what we got? What we got in the comments? Let's check it out. Let's look. Let's look. We got a lot. We got a lot. We got a lot. All right. Flower says, I'm dyslexia. I'm at the end of my first draft. I know my characters are more flat at the beginning as they have revealed themselves over the book. I know I have to breathe life into them in the edits. I would say more importantly in the second drafts, right? So as you're editing and as you're writing your second, third, I would even say almost your fourth draft, you will discover who these characters are, pure and simple. I will send out this caveat to anyone who is a writer. When you start discovering your writers at the end, there is a chance that who they are at the end is just a grown version of who they were in the beginning. And if you go back and start kind of taking their personality from the end and put it into the beginning and then lead back up, you may be changing their growth arc. However, if their personality, their words, their behavior is not showing up in the previous chapters, then yeah, that's something you have to adjust. But if you're changing their emotional development, because the emotional development is different at the end, that might be something you say, hey, silencing. Silence! Oh, what's up, bro? Welcome to the party. Trilogy. I like a good trilogy, don't get me wrong. And I like if there's like trilogies, like 3 or 4 trilogies make up a huge saga. Like, I'm cool with that. My original saga was supposed to be that. It was supposed to be 3 books, a trilogy. And then it turned out I wanted to make, because I had to expand it, I was like, I'll do 3 books for one series, 3 books for another series, and 3 books for the final series. And then that's a 9-book saga. And then I realized, wait a minute, the first series is going to be a little bit bigger. So it went to 5. Now I'm at 6 books, which is whatever it is. It is what it is. So the important thing is not to allow the growth of something to be like, no, this was originally going to be 1 big book, and then it was originally going to be 3 books. No, I got to no. If you have to expand to allow a single book to benefit from it, that's probably your best bet. But I did discover something very important where I was lost and confused in a later book. With the outline, I realized, oh wait, that could actually happen here earlier, and then that book I could get rid of it because it just felt like nothing was happening in that book. So I was able to be like, oh, this naturally makes more sense, and that's something you got to think about when you're writing. Sorry I was late. I'm glad you're mixing something. Can't wait to hear it. But more importantly, put $2 in the late jar. Ciao bello, ciao beat. Hey Roo. Hey flowers of Gunny. Don't shout, people are working. Hi Emma. You stay there, Bellezza. Quietly. Yes, ma'am. That's Mrs. Bennett to you. I get it. Oh, we got... Hey, Richard, what's up, buddy? Today I went to a place called Swallow Street in London. I said it should be there where Emma Bennett sets her next romance novel. That is... she doesn't write erotica, young sir. But more importantly, thanks for joining us, Richard. I had to mute you. Oh, man. Oh, because of the sound. You don't want the mute? All right. Hey. We won't use music. I'll take the music off. I just figured maybe a little something low, you know. Most women say that to Richard. Well, the kind of money he's paying them to hang out with him, I guess they have to. I thought it was, oh, Emma to you. Rude, lol, true. Wow, there's a lot. Okay. I thought trilogy was another name for a threesome Well, what they say. A threesome is amazing unless you have a foursome. However, uh, if there are no women, it's very uncomfortable. All right. Rude. I like world building. There's not a lot of that in short stories. That's true, yeah, because the short story is just trying to get to the end. But I'll, let me, if I may, devil's advocate you, Afghani. World building doesn't need to be explored through exposition. It could be explored through movement and behavior. So what does that mean? Well, a character that has a specific kind of culture, that's world building. A character that lives that culture, performs and behaves with that culture, that's world building. The places that character moves around. So there's a difference between, let's say they're in a city or a town or a village or wherever, and there are certain kind of flags around the wall. There is a wall. That's world building. It's not necessarily exposition, but it's through the character and the narrative that this world is built. So you could do some heavy lifting with world building and never ever lean into exposition and still get that into a short story. So just listen. My vampires probably visit. I've lost the reins of the show. It will have to be $2 towards my laundry instead. That's fair. That's fair. We need clean clothes, Just off Swallow Street was Spit Avenue. Richard, behave. It smells funny, so I kept on walking. Oh, it's like that blind man who was like, "Oh, hello, ladies," when he walked past the fish store. What's next? I am behaving poorly. All right. We have Pink Lane in Newcastle. Pink Lane. Yeah, but I hear because they don't have signs, you got to feel around until you discover the hole in the wall, which is actually the best place to be in. Excellent food. It's a place where you would ultimately eat at. I hear they mostly serve sushi. However, Pink Lane, excellent area. Excellent area. Puns. All right, everybody. How are we doing here? How are we doing? I think we have one more sprint in us, but look at so far. By the way, if you're listening and you haven't done so already, we have a poll going on. It's what's your favorite project type? We have 9 votes. What's your favorite project type? We have standalone novel, trilogy, epic series, short stories, and novelettes. I'm actually kind of interested in talking about the standalone novel, why it's so high and why people like that. Maybe it's because of the commitment element, but I definitely will want to talk about that at the end of the hour. Swallow Street was filled with restaurants. Clearly the best place to... Hey-o! Hey-o! All right, what do we got here? I'm going to do a little bit of plotting. Oh, for the next sprint? That makes me excited there, Emma. I like to hear that you're going to do a little bit of plotting. Oh, plotting like to take over the world, plotting a novel, or plotting to somehow punish us for being inappropriate. All right, so she's plotting revenge. Revenge! I think Emma, of all the people that would plot revenge, you are the most capable of all. I got Thomas excited. Yeah, hey, who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be excited? All right. You have that effect on men, it seems, and women. I've seen the videos. All right, everybody. Let's get back. You want to do another sprint? Do you want to do a little bit of Q&A? Do you want to listen to Richard? I'm flying through. By the way, I'm about to finish another chapter in the 27 plot point outline. And I just want you to know that every time I finish another chapter, this book gets more and more closer to the end. You know what I'm saying? Closer to the final, solution. I can't wait till I finish this book. Currently, I'm on chapter 5, and I'm working on the common M's and F's of outlining, and so we'll see what happens. The reason I don't like standalone novels as much is because if I like the story, I wind up wanting a follow. Yeah, that's the same. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like a good thriller might be a strong standalone. But if I'm reading like fantasy, or like a noir series or something like that, which is a little different than mystery, where it's like you're following a detective and it's very noir. Like I want to keep in that world. I want to stay in that world, especially if I like it. But that's more like a series, right? So yeah, but an epic series would be like you're sitting down, you're expecting 6 books, 7 books out of it, But like Reacher started off as a one-off, and then because it was popular, you did a second and third, and that became an epic series, but it wasn't always designed to be a series. So I do like standalone books that also stand alone. Like Reacher in itself, like the books are all over the place. They're not all like, it's not a linear storytelling. It's like it happens here, it happens there, it's 10 years later, it's 3 years before. And so it's really nice that not only is it sort of like an epic series, even though they're not directly narratively connected, they're connected through themes and story and the Reacher character and probably history. But even like Richard's saying, you could just jump in and start reading, and it's anything. So I consider it a standalone novel per book, but at the same time, it is a bigger series. But when I talk about epic series, which I notice nobody chose, it's like you know it's going to be a big series. You know that, like, hey, the author is planning to do X, Y, and Z. What we got here? Strange how I was Googling Victorian ankle-length skirts during the sprint. It's like, anu. I didn't know you were going to be so provocative today, Flowers, with some ankle revealing. In some cultures, it's inappropriate. Don't say final solution. It's the final solution. Richard. Oh, Reacher is great. Yeah. You can 100%. You could hop in, hop out, and it's all. You don't have to be like, oh, I didn't read the last friggin' 30 books. By the way, Richard, I don't know if you know, but Reacher, what's his face? Lee Child, which isn't his real name, but his brother is taking over. If he hasn't taken it over completely yet, he's taken over the series because he's much, much younger. It's a universe, but you can read in any order. Yeah, that's what makes it really nice. I learned to love standalones after I set to start and finish my previous book, as opposed to previous books when I didn't know yet how it would end. This one I knew from the beginning. Something also I'd like to point out is like when you're writing a book, even if in your mind you're like, I want to write a series or a saga or it's going to be a trilogy, you should still be writing like a book. Like the book should be, if the book feels incomplete because it's part of a series, you have to go back and do some work. So it's always good to, even if a book in your mind as a writer, like this is going to be a series, you should still be like, how do I make this a standalone book? The benefit, though, is if other people read it, they get the benefit of moving on. However, just to be fair, you're supposed to set up every book as if no one's read the previous book, right? So like a second or third book in a series, people should be able to get in. The problem is, if like say your first book sets up who these characters are and their motivations and like you get a lot of backstory, like, do you have to put that in the second, third, fourth, and fifth book? No. What you have to do is establish who they are in that new book, that ordinary world. As far as history goes, though, you can still add and play and like, but if you have to repeat yourself, not that exciting. That gets a little like tedious. Lee Childs. It's in a transit. Oh, that's right, because they're doing like I think they wrote a couple books together. I think if I remember correctly, the brother has written books by himself now, though. Lee Child, is that true? Was the actual Lee Childs, who now lives in the Americas, the States, with his wife, did he own a building that you rented? That's an interesting lore. And if so, did you ask him to sign this book? Emma is full of lies. Uh, is that what we call it now? Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, all right. So before we jump back into a sprint, just for anyone who hasn't yet, if you're just jumping in, hopping in, we have a poll. We will be talking about it at the end of the hour. What's your favorite project? Type. We have standalone novel, trilogy, epic series, which is series that you know are extended, not necessarily something like Reacher, and then short stories, novellas. So let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's do another 20 minutes. Believe nothing she says. Well, she tells me that I have a really nice beard, so I shouldn't believe that. I don't know. You know he was. You know he was. That's exactly what you would say. Lee Childs. All right. We're going to go back into it. Let's do it. Blip. Now, remember, if you have any questions or thoughts or ideas, please put them in the comments. When we come back from the excitement, we will go through it. For anyone who doesn't want the music going, I will not be playing music this time. I will just keep it on silence. Other than you get to see me doing this once in a while because I'm typing. All right, with that said, let's do it. Boom. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. We're back. We're back. Let's see. It was his mom and dad's house. It was Lee Chow. So Emma Bennett, when she was younger, which was just recently, because she's still young, her living at the mom's and dad's house. Interesting. They passed away, and the family rented out the house. I mean, that's the way to do it. You know, you don't get rid of property. All right, so we're at the hour. We're in the hour. Let's talk about it. Also, if anyone has any questions, you know you could ask. So the poll says, what's your favorite project type? All right, we have standalone novel, which I think makes sense why everyone's picking that. A trilogy, 22%. Epic series, 0%. So basically, I should stop writing my books now. And then 22% like short stories and novellas. Novellas. All right. So, finished that chapter, dished out yogurt, and fixed my bathroom tap. Wow. You are good. We're going to, you know what we need? We need an applause. Congratulations. Look at you kicking butt. Very good. Very good. Woohoo, flowers. Do 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 boo do 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 do. You know what it is? It's like you got the star from Mario. Curtsies. You'd look amazing curtsying, I tell you. I tell you. All right, so I'm gonna end the poll, and it looks like yes. All right. The poll ends. We got. Where are we ending it? Okay, it says. Looks like standalone novel, 56. Okay, let's talk about it. You know. Ooh, ding, 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 ding. So interesting. Now, let me know in the comments. Does knowing a single book will be a part of a trilogy or an epic series deter you from reading that book? That's a good question. And also, 56% pick standalone novels. Does that mean you're specifically looking for books? I knew it. I knew it. All right. Good news, Thomas, is you could still keep doing your day job even if you stop doing your epic fantasy. Well, I mean, yeah. My day job is being retired, basically. But yeah, I will say this though. I am writing the book for myself anyway, so it doesn't, when you write, right, creativity, art, like my mentors used to always, very business brainy, but they used to always say, if you're going to do something, whether it's music, acting, writing, whatever the case is, you got to do it for you. You got to love what you're doing, right? You got to be like, this is the story I want to tell, right? But at the end of the day, once you write it, if you want to make money, that's where everything changes. So there's artist brain, business brain, right? So my mentors used to very profusely push on me. Look, don't worry about what you're creating. Just create it, because anything could be marketed. And I was like, are you sure? And, nowadays you realize he was right, because there's a My Pillow guy, and he sells pillows, so. My day job is making cat baskets. I meant the teaching stuff. Well, yeah. But I only teach people that I like. I won't just take on anyone, as And also that's why my rates are what they are, because I do it because I want to help people I believe in. So that's something to be All right, we want the epic fantasy. We just can't be. Why don't you want to write it yourself? You should write it yourself. Well, I'm talking, when this question is, what's your favorite project type? Oh, yeah, okay, I see. So you as writers, you prefer, you would be like, I would read a trilogy or an epic series, but as a writer, I just want to write the standalone novel, get it done. And but see, this is the thing. I mentioned this a little earlier. If you're writing a series or a saga or a trilogy, every book should be a standalone book. You should be writing a book that can stand on its own, that when somebody reads it, they understand these characters and their new circumstances and positions. Does that mean like a sequel can't be a little quicker? No. But you should still be using your first act to establish who these characters are again. But when I say establish who these characters are again, I'm not saying establish who they were in book 1. I'm saying establish who they are in now book 2, and then book 3, and then if you're George R. R. Martin, you don't have to worry about book 7. All right. My brainchild couldn't cope with thinking that far ahead. Look, I get it. I think what it comes down to though is because like I like outlining, and my brain, I can be like, all right, I have an idea, and then I could just like loosely short form outline it, and then like I fed that beast, and I could go to it whenever I want. But I also know that I could change it. Like I never have to rely on what it is. So like that's always important too. I agree with you about 3 trilogies making up 9 stories total saga. Yes. Oh, how far into the video are you? Yeah, that's right. You can think. That's where it comes from, like my brain was thinking like that, like, oh, well, George Lucas did it. However, I don't want mine to end up like George Lucas. You know what I'm saying? Where he makes like the first trilogy, and then he's like, I didn't really have 2 trilogies or 3, but then I did, and I was like, let me do the prequels. And then he's like, you know what, the hell with it, let me sell to Disney. And then Disney was like, you know what we're gonna do? We don't want his story. We're gonna actually destroy everything that the original narrative was about, and we're just gonna make it about this really powerful character. But we're gonna trick you on the poster. We're gonna say it's actually about this guy who is a stormtrooper, and then it turns out he's actually a Jedi. But we're gonna do a bait and switch, right? I will say this though. I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea of doing like a trilogy, and then doing like a prequel, and then doing like a future thing. In fact, Brandon Sanderson's kind of doing that. He's doing like these eras where like a series, like the series is like whatever it is, the 1400s, and then he's gonna slowly get to the future and write a sci-fi book. But he has the modern book. I think he was talking about how he's like gonna be like the way he talked about it, he's like sort of like in the Middle Ages, and then he's gonna be sort of like in the we're in the Bronze Age, and then he's gonna be like, all right, we're in the modern age, and then we're gonna be like, right. So I understand that sounds fun. The way I'm working on my saga is it all takes place within like maybe like 100 years or whatever. But I have like these other books that are written around the saga that aren't necessarily a part of the saga. They're just connected to the world. And there's one series that I'm writing that is, it takes place 1600 years before the Maven Wars. But I also have books that take place way in the future where it's like modern times, where there's cars and planes and trains and automobiles, right? So, like I think that's fun because you could play in the series and saga you like, but then you could write these one-offs, these standalone books that sort of explore that world in different eras or different genres. I know that I had like a noir kind of book sort of being worked out. I lost a little steam with it because crime is. I'm not really. I like reading crime, but writing crime is not the same. But at the end of the day, that story ended up being something that I worked into a show that I was working on before I sort of left the industry, and then I was like, wait, I could turn that that first season into a novel, and so I get the noir, but I also get this other thing. So there's just so much you could do with writing. You know what I'm saying? You're not really. We're gonna do the same story, but worse about a girl. Yeah, right. We're gonna do a sequel, but the sequel. What are we gonna do in it? Well, I was thinking, and hear me out. They live on a desert, okay, and they don't know they have the force powers, but they're like super strong. But they're also connected to a dynasty, but they don't know that. Oh, okay. Didn't we make this movie already? No. You don't understand. It doesn't take place on Tatooine. Okay. All right. Well, okay. All right. We'll keep going. So the other thing is like, what'll be cool is they're gonna be stuck on the desert planet, but to get off of it, they find like an old ship, and it's called the Millennium Falcon. Wait, but doesn't Luke Skywalker befriend Han Solo on the desert planet, and they take the Millennium Falcon to leave the planet? You see, you're not seeing the bigger picture. See, with Han Solo, they just hire him, and then he's like, "We're out." But in this, they're being attacked by like the First Watch or whatever they're called. You mean like the Empire? No. The Empire's gone. There is no Empire. It's just these guys who wear like white armor. Totally different. But they're fighting. They're trying to kill these people for some reason because of a droid. What do you mean? Well, this droid has a message. You mean like it's R2D2? No, it's not. What are you talking about? It's not. No, it's. You don't get it. It's completely different. This droid is like a ball, and it like moves, and it's like it doesn't really talk. It just makes noises. Yeah, like R2D2. No, R2D2 is one half of like an Abbott and Costello routine. There is no. They're not. It's just this one robot, and it has something they need. All right. So let me get this straight. Whatever you call it, the First Watch, the First Order, whatever. They're after a droid with a message in it, and then they start shooting at people, and then these people somehow happen to be, and just bear with me, they happen to be directly connected to the Empire. I mean, the First Order, and this girl happens to be directly connected to Palpatine. No, she's not. No, she's not connected to Palpatine. That would be ridiculous. She's just a powerful Jedi. She's a nobody. That's the idea. It doesn't even feel like the same movie. What are you talking about? My fantasy story concept takes place in different time periods. And I love that, Ro. I love it because not only does it explore this world, your world, and like all these different elements, but you also don't get plagued with like the same stuff. You could change things up. And and there's also a Death Star, but it's not a Death Star. The Death Star blew up twice. We are changing things up. See, this planet can shoot 10 Death Star lasers and destroy 10 planets. It's not even close to the same thing. Jeez, you're so silly. Did they blow it up? Oh yeah, they blow it up. But it's not through a stupid trench thing. Ah, crap. All right. R3. It's R3. Who's R2? Who's R2D2? I don't know. Hidden Fortress for the full context of where 3PO and R2 came from. I think I will. Oh yeah, that's the yeah. We were talking about that the other day, bro. Were we? Yeah, it was you I was talking about. That little salt cellar Floki. Yeah, no, I have a lot to say about of the sequels, and not even if like I avoid the whole like when she is a Mary Sue, but like if you're just thinking of like narrative and coherence, those are terrible movies. But the thing is, this goes back. This will be a good lesson for look, as writers, if your brand becomes so strong, right? People are going to give your stuff a chance. And even if a majority of those people don't like it and you release another book and they're so attached emotionally to your brand that they're going to go, all right, let's try the second one. And then they're going to read it and you're going to be like, you just killed off the main bad, Snoke. And now it turns out Ray is a nobody. And then it's just a high speed chase at 0 miles per hour in space. And then Luke is a nobody. Luke, no one cares about Luke hates the Force. Okay, and then people are angry. But then you make a third one, and you go somehow Palpatine returns, and your fan base is attached to your brand. Now, am I telling you to write crap? No. But what I'm saying is, if you could build a relationship with your audience and you establish a brand, which is what drew people to $1 billion in sales for the first sequel movie with the first, the Force Awakens, you're going to see yourself be able to still sustain a career because even when you fall, your audience will still be behind you. The downfall of that, though, is, sometimes, like, when bands do it, well, back in the day when there was such a thing as albums and bands, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. But when it comes to your books and stuff like that, I'm talking about how bands, they would come out with an album that didn't really, because this was the big issue that even my mentors would teach me in the music industry. They're like, look, if you focus on the music, then your next album has to be that music. Like you can't evolve, but if you could build a fan base like Dream Theater did, then Dream Theater, they released different style albums. Led Zeppelin released different style albums. The Beatles tried different things, right? Metallica, they tried different things, but it was so different from Ride the Lightning to the Black Album to Load and Reload, that it shifted their fan base in a crazy way. But what happens is, if people stay with you, they're like, all right, they fell a little bit, but I still am supporting them. But then you get fans that like the new thing, and then you try to write the old thing again. The new fans are like, this is crap, and the old fans are like, finally, they're back. So like you end up in this weird flux. So you should always just write what you want to write. And if you could build a strong relationship with your fan base beyond your books, that's how you become Stephen King. Because Stephen King has books that sell that get really bad reviews, or that people are like, this is terrible, but they still buy the next book. What we got? Oh, let me take this off. What we got here? We did that one. I like things about the sequels and accept that this is what I'm stuck with regardless, so I might as well find things to like about it. There are many things to like throughout all 9 movies. Some of the TV shows, definitely The Mandalorian. But I think at the end of the day, if you don't like something, it's okay not to like it. Like, I stopped watching Star Wars things because they got me too many times. It was too much of a struggle. Like they release, Rogue One, and I'm like, wow, and then they release The Last Jedi, and I'm just like, all right, they don't care. Like they're just I'm not giving them my money. Like, I want to enjoy myself, But at the same time, I see what they were going for. I understand they're trying to subvert expectations, but there's so many issues with it. However, The Mandalorian came out, and my friend was like, we have to watch this, and I was like, fine. And I was like, wow, they got me again. I was like, this is great. And then they did season 2, and then season 3, and then Boba Fett was awesome in The Mandalorian, but then they were like, let's give Boba Fett his own show, and then you're like, what is going on? That isn't Boba. So it's like it's hard to play. And then Ahsoka came out, and Ahsoka. I don't have time for it. My point is, it's okay not to like something. Yes, that album Ludapoo flopped. It flopped. Let's just put it this way: they sold 14 million copies of the Black Album. They did not sell a tenth of that for Load and Reload. In fact, if we go online, album sales for Metallica. So if you go to Metallica, so the Black Album, well, to date. So this is to date. So to date, the Black Album has sold 33 million albums, whereas Load has only sold 8 million. And I know it's still only, but 8 million compared to 33 million. And that's to date, so not when these came out. But Reload only sold 6.6 million. All right. Now, Saint Anger sold 5 million, which came out after those because they were losing their fan base. S&M only sold 5 million. Now, Kill 'Em All, Lifetime, 4.3, and that was their first album. All right. Then they did Death Magnetic, and that sold 4 million. Hardwire only sold 2.4. Do you see my point? Like, but again, streaming has become a thing, so that reduces album sales. But Load and Reload came out before there was streaming was like a huge thing. But just to put it into perspective, Master of Puppets has sold 10 million albums. Justice sold 11 million. So Master came out, fantastic album. Justice came out, great album. And then they were like, let's try to get more poppy, and they sold 33 million with Black Album. But there was like a new fan base pull, and then like, what's going on? I missed the heavy stuff. And then they were like, we're gonna change it again, and they just turned into a rock band, and people were like, what's going on? So it was a huge drop. It's a huge drop, I wasn't downloadable. I'll get my coat. Oh, it wasn't down. Yeah, it wasn't downloadable. The things I like about it feel accidental. You're talking about the sequels. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. There was stuff that could have been really awesome with Luke. I saw what they were going for. I like that they killed, spoiler alert, Han Solo. I didn't like how they killed him, but I like that they did kill him. I really feel like John Boyega's character should have stayed. Even if Rey was the main character throughout the whole thing, I think John Boyega's character should at least had a presence. I feel like they just didn't know what to do with him after they were like, just kidding. So they sort of like pushed him in the back for the second and third movies. Even the third movie, he's like, Rey, I gotta tell you something. It's very important. Then they go underground, and somehow Rey can heal. Rey can heal, which basically they're saying that Anakin Skywalker wouldn't have become Darth Vader if he just learned how to use the Jedi power to heal. The power that no one else in the world could do except for Rey and Goku. I don't even have time for it. I can go on for hours about this. I won't waste my time with the Acolytes. Oh my God. The Acolytes has a fantastic saber fight in it. But the show still exists. It's so bad. And that show basically, I don't even want to go into it. I think Saint Anger did worse than Load and Reload. Metallica sales per album. We'll go back to that. It says here, Saint Anger. Yeah, Saint Anger definitely did worse than, but Load and Reload came out first, and that started the dreaded fall of the Metallica brand because it was so diversive. that even the new fans of the Black Album was like, what's going on? So then when they were like, we're going to reclaim our old sound with Saint Anger, and they came out with that dum 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 dum, like they were playing like a steel drum, and they were just like, yeah, we're done. And it's so crazy because they have Rob. Rob's such a good bass player. Anyway, I haven't watched Ackley, but watched a bunch of YouTubes. Yeah, there's a lot of people that take a part of it. And the thing about also going to Ahsoka, they have Anakin in it, and they also have like a variation of Darth Vader. They have that like flashback scene, and they have what's his face who passed away, that Ray Stevenson. He plays a really interesting character. But like the narrative is so, it's poorly executed in my mind. Poorly executed. I could only watch a couple episodes and I was just like, I can't do this. Every good thing they set up, they were just like, here's some interesting ideas. Like Rey not being of any connection to anything is more interesting than her, because once you put her as Palpatine's direct descendant, first of all, Palpatine got it on with people. I thought he was too busy. But then at the end, she's like, I'm Rey Skywalker. Like, who, why, what are you doing? It's just so stupid. Anyway, I'm going to get too emotional about that because it was just like ridiculous. But if she just stayed a nobody, then R3D3 being on the planet, still it functions. It feels random, but the fact that not only is John Boyega somehow a Jedi, which I'm cool with that idea, but he happens to also be next to Rey, who is literally Palpatine's granddaughter, and then I don't know, it's all whatever. All right, and took a huge stinky. It was because Lars' drum set sounded like he was playing on. Yeah, he was like dong 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 dong. Saint Anger and me. It's so stupid. And Kirk complained that playing solos was dinosaur. I mean, that's fair. That's very fair. It's just, then like, where's Cliff? Kurt Hammett. I could go on about Kurt Hammett. All right. What else? Is that it? I think we're done. We had a good time today. All right, so let's go over the hoopla. It's time for hoopla, everybody. Hoopla. By the way, you can find me on makearightleftheere.com. If you go there, you can find my books that are available. You can go to my Patreon through that. You can do whatever you want. You can see when I'm teaching, where I'm teaching, if I'm doing anything fun. That's all available there. But more importantly, please bloop the beard, bloop that like button, because when you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also hit the bell icon, it actually elevates the channel and helps me build and cultivate a relationship with the YouTube algorithm, which has been doing great. It's all to all you, and watching these lives, but more importantly, the love and compassion I've been getting with the support through the videos being released. So thank you for that. But please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out. This book is still available on makearightleftheere.com. You can also get it on Amazon. Breaking Down Success. This is the first book in the series, The Foundation for Longevity. Book 2 is still in the process of being formatted. Like I said earlier, I am flying through this. We're at the end of chapter 5 by the time I finish this sprint, which means, I got, what is that? Got 26 more chapters to write the second draft and edit and do all the other stuff. If you're interested, Death of a King, the first book in the Epic Fantasy series, is available on my Patreon. It is available on my Patreon. So feel free to jump on that. I will say this much. The Patreon tier that you can see that book is not the final draft. It's actually showing you behind the scenes. It's educational. It goes over why explains why I wrote the chapter. It shows you the zero shows you the soft, what the hell? Short form outline along the extended outline of the zero draft, the first draft, and the third draft. But also, I am working on, for that tier, I am working on basically a lesson series that will be attached to that tier. So not only can you read the book and see how I wrote the book and process, and also keep in mind that tier teaches you things, like there's information and education and assignments. But I am in the process of working on basically like an educational series, like an actual teaching class, and it'll be attached to that tier. But there'll also be another tier. You can just, if you want to just get that tier and not read the book, there'll be a lower tier. So there's that. Also, I will be attaching that lesson, that video lesson, to the YouTube, whatchamacallit, the YouTube membership thing as well. So a lot of things going on. What we got here? You said you estimate the plot point book coming out next year, correct? My goal is to have it available for Christmas. That might not be possible. January 1st might be the latest. I'm not going to give an exact date because, you know, that's always dangerous to do. But I am working on it. I am consistently pushing on it. I'm giving more of my time to that than other things, even though I'm still working on other stuff. I'll just keep everybody up to date. You could, for anyone, you know, Ro and I speak privately, but for anyone who wants to know, I do update all the information on the website. So you can see the percentage of the book being written, where it's at, and also the news that I post news on my Facebook page, where I don't necessarily post it anywhere else. However, if you're on the mailing list, I try to send out at least one mailing list per month, and that usually has an update on what's going on as well. Other than that, do we have anything else? Did we do everything? I think we did everything. There we go. All right, we're done. Let me get rid of this. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Do you have any, you need help with any writing? Do you need some insight? I'm happy. You know, I'm always happy to answer questions, especially if it has to do with your own writing. Okay. Oh, tomorrow is Write a Book with me. So, you know, if you want to come and join that and enjoy yourself, I'll be doing that 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, I think I'm going to have some lunch. All right, everybody. Much love. As always, thank you so much for being here and joining me on Saturday, as we do every Saturday and Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.